Well, lab school is as it's defined, a school within a school
that employs different learning philosophies, grading policies, and basically a general different look at how public education might work. Not a better one, but a different one.
In one word, it's a community. That's what everyone calls it, essentially. And
an opportunity to really get to know students and families and try to make life better for them. Lab School is a school within the larger high school. It's carved out of a traditional public school high school, and it serves 9th through 12th grade and classes of about 30 students in each grade. And the students stay with the same team of teachers for 4 years, and they travel with that same class for the same 4 years.
You bond with the people more than you would be in regular school, so that's one of the benefits of it.
It's great to feel like you're part of a community within Lab School.
It's a tremendous experience after 4 years to see the growth from a student who walks in 9th grade and barely knows anybody in the room, and to get choked up when you're saying goodbye to them at the end of their senior year.
If I summed it up in one word, I would say family. And I think that's one of the coolest things about it. It's like, I mean, the greater school is a family to me as well. I'm pretty tight with most of my students, but with my lab school students and teachers, fellow colleagues and whatnot, it really becomes greater than just a tight relationship or a particular teacher you might be friends with or student you might be close to. It's everybody in one boat working for one common cause and one common goal. And it's everyone, maybe not best of friends, but accepting each other for who we are.
As a teacher, lab school is a great way to try out new methods of teaching and experiment.
It's not dead yet.
It's still alive. It's alive. It's alive.
I think my favorite thing about lab school is how it really does prepare you for the real world after high school. For example, we do these huge research papers and presentations which directly apply to what we'll have to do later on in college.
The research process is our attempt to really prepare a student for that next challenge if they choose to go on to college, how to really truly craft a thesis, a position, and then defend it solidly with research that they've gathered over 20 weeks.
The research process is a 4-year process, and it starts with the 40-week process. And this year we have Mr. Mitchell and Ms. Pelletieri who run the 40-week process, and they are teaching the freshmen the entire lab school way of doing a paper and a presentation. So they are teaching how to lay out the paper, how to format the works cited page, how to do the research, how to evaluate sources, how to actually go about writing the paper, to then the steps of the presentation where how to do all those same things and make it a presentation, and then practice getting up in front of their peers and kind of giving that presentation and answering questions that the board might ask. But that's done over a period of 40 weeks. So they do one paper and one presentation as freshmen.
The research process that we go through is probably the strongest point of the entire program, because it provides you with like a background to writing a paper and presenting before you enter college, and those are two very key aspects of college life. So you're really preparing all 4 years of high school. You're preparing for college instead of just going right in blind and starting out with something you don't really know what you're doing.
And then the process for the next 2 years, so sophomore and junior year, is the same process but condensed down to 20 weeks. So we call it the 20-week process. And they rotate mentors through the 20-week process. So I'll have 8 students for the first 20 weeks of the year, and then I will have a whole new crop of 8 students for the second 20 weeks of the year. And again, that happens both for their sophomore and junior year, but they do the same thing as the 40 weeks. So they write a paper, they come up with a presentation topic that's based off of something in the paper, so they're expanding on that idea, and then they have to get up as a group and present a theme-based presentation where they're talking about four different thesis presentations, but it has one unifying theme. And then they have to take questions individually and as a group from a board of examiners that are made up of teachers and outside examiners who have ranged from members of the board to members of the administration to experts in the field of the topic that those kids are doing.
We put a huge emphasis on helping our students learn the proper way to help them find a topic, help them find their focus within a topic, help them find an argument within that focus, help them find an outline within that argument, and then help them find a paper within that outline.
And the final stage would be the senior presentation, which as seniors they are required to do an internship for their second half of the year. And from their internship they are to come up with a thesis, write a research paper, come up with a topic based off that research paper, and do a presentation on it, and do that presentation in front of the board. And part of the board is teachers and part of the board is the mentor that they actually worked with. So they can't get away with too much because that person has seen them in action.
As an upperclassman, it's really more of a challenge. Can you defend your position? Can you find scholarly research and solid information to really sway a board of examiners?
In total, they will have written at least 6 research papers and done 6 presentations in front of a board of examiners by the time they graduate high school.
Could you tell us about some of the field trips you take while in the lab school?
We take 2 retreats each year, definitely. We go up to both sides of Lake George. We start the year at Camp Gingecook, and it's really to welcome our freshmen and provide our focus for the school year. And we end the school year at the other side of the lake at Silver Bay, and that's an opportunity to say goodbye to our seniors and have some healthy competition between our classes and really, look back at the year we just had and get ready for that new year coming back for the folks coming back in the fall.
We also have ones that rotate on a yearly basis. So we do a trip to Washington, D.C., we do a trip to Colonial Williamsburg, we do a trip to Philadelphia, we do a trip to Boston, and those every year we do a different one, so it cycles on a 4-year rotation.
This year we went to Washington, D.C., which was awesome because we got to see a lot of the stuff that we're learning right now in United States history and government. Like, we got to go to the Capitol building and the White House and actually see a lot more of how the government worked, so that was cool because it's like real life of what we're learning in school.
Going to all 4 of those rotating field trips, it just helps me have reference points that I can bring up to the students. So in class when I'm talking about Congress, or I can say, hey, when we were in Congress, or when we go to Monticello, I can talk about the artifacts of Thomas Jefferson, and when we're talking about the American Revolution, we've been to the spot where the Boston Massacre took place. So those are the things that help me as a teacher and really, I think, add a sense of realism for the students.
Another trip that we take every year is Silver Bay, which we usually do at the end of the year. And that is personally my favorite trip because we do a lot of team building stuff, which might sound like maybe not the best use of time, but it's actually so awesome and it just brings the entire community together. And even though the whole trip is kind of competition between the 4 grades, at the end everyone is just like one team of lab school.
You meet new people that you probably would never have talked to if you're in regular school. I probably would not be friends with a majority of the people where I am now if I hadn't been in lab school.
Going back to like my second year in the program, memory that really sticks out to me is to really get a sense sometimes that how different this program is. You have to be in it for a little while, and I'd been in it about a year at that point, and we did take that field trip to Florida, and we were swimming with dolphins, and I'm watching students jumping in and out of the water with dolphins and swimming with them and doing tricks with them, and I just had that moment like this is like in the middle of a school day and we are literally swimming with dolphins and learning the ins and outs and the marine biology involved with the ecosystems down there in Florida, and it's just, it really showed me that it doesn't all have to happen in a classroom, and true education can happen really anywhere, and that's really what lab school is all about.
There's a reason I'm in this profession, and lab school just accentuates that reason, or those reasons, which is my connection with other human beings and with teenagers. It's very strong. Lab school allows it to be that much stronger, and I'm grateful for that opportunity.
When I started teaching, I had this kind of idealistic view of what education should be, and now I'm in it.
It's been a journey. It's just a passion, and it's been ups and downs and new faces every year, and then familiar faces that come back and see you, and just people being surrounded by people who really truly care about learning and helping their community, and it's just been a joy to be a part of it for this long.